is going on? RedMaster here, and welcome back to another Cards and Castles video. As I promised yesterday, we'll be looking into my 3K decks for various seasons, including September and October, which of course will span the next 3 days. However, there was an accident last night, as stated in the news bulletin. If you have seen the new message. A program that was apparently supposed to be removing invalid decks from old accounts has incorrectly removed some newer decks as well. This hit me pretty hard. I lost 2 of the 3K decks that were, at 3,000 stars. They were there. And, I haven't been able to get them back up to the 3,000 stars. I'm not feeling at 100%, and, when I played, I made some pretty big mistakes throughout my playthroughs. So I'm right now at 2911 for the deck I'm going to show you today, and it's one that I've been working on for quite some time and have wanted to bring to you guys for a while now, and hopefully you just enjoy it from here. I'm sorry again that they're not at 3K. They really should be, but of course recent developments have made it interesting to say the least. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to take you right into the deck list to start this show off. So, the first deck we got going on is Dwarf Town. Now, as you saw by the battle screen, I do have this deck at 2900, but of course that's just because of the recent events of the deck the deck wipes. But this deck has placed in 3000, I believe, 3 times. One for September 2017, before the new deck ranks. It did place in September 2017 when the deck ranks came out, and in this October season before the whole, this wipe incident. So overall, it's a very reliable deck, and I do like it. Again, 2900, disregarding that. But I'm going to break it down for you guys, the entire deck list, showing you guys what I got and why I got it in here. So we're going to start off with the Ice Weaving card, and of course that kind of relates to Frozen Storm. These 2 cards are your only source of spell damage in the deck. You're going to have to use these probably to be stalling for time, or if you just need that extra damage. I definitely like this card for more of its setup potential. Setting up a quest play, freezing something so it doesn't distract any of my guys, and then of course later on with my big surprise buffs. But that's really what they are meant to do. So, simple spell damage, of course, from Ice Weaving Frozen Storm. Moving on now, we're going to move into the Dwarf part of it. I'm going to classify all these Dwarfs together now. We have Dwarf Miner, Dwarf Paladin, and of course the Grudge Bearer, and to an extent Mourdock. Mourdock is of course a Dwarf, so he can technically count as a Dwarf as well. But these 4 guys are essential in throwing out the deck's biggest surprise, and of course that's being the Dwarven Weapons. Now the Dwarven Weapons do and can be surprising, as I'll show you later on in our matches, but just you kind of need the Dwarves to set up for these this play. But overall they are very strong alone as it is. Dwarven Miner at 3-4, that's a good body. 3-4 for 3, it's alright, not as good as Arctic Explorer, but still pretty good in that healing aspect. Paladin is your only heal source in this deck, so that's another important factor to take note. You have the Grudge Bearer as well. The Grudge Bearer is a pretty big dude for 4 gold, and one that if he gets too close to the base, your enemy has to take notice and has to do something about. And his Rampage can power up someone else. Yeah, but anyway, that's why I carry these guys in the deck, primarily to just provide as strong units, as well as to set up for Dwarven Weapon plays, which are the big surprise of the deck, as well as Dwarven Archives, which I neglected to mention there, but it's your only source of draw in this deck as well. So, very important to have at least a Dwarf out there to, set up for a spell, or to act as a strong body, like I said previously. Moving on, I do have the Mage Apprentice. I do like the Mage Apprentice in nearly all of my decks because of his body. His 1-3 is pretty good as a range unit, and that random spell can't hurt you unless it's a dead draw, in which case you're stuck with a dead card in your hand. But I still like him. Of course, he can also be powered up by the Dwarven Weapons, making him a 3-3 or a Nun play, which makes him a 2/4. So he definitely has some potential there to become a stronger range unit, if you will. Moving on now, we do have the Wood War and the Forest Revolt. Basically, of course, if you aren't running a deck without this sort of tree tech in it, then you're going to be a little behind. You're going to be at a disadvantage because these trees are just so strong not to ignore right now and to be placing them into decks is just, you can't be not having these trees. You cannot be. The Forest Revolts of summoning a Wood War and then giving everything else +2 movement, giving these guys potentially 5 movement when awakened, it's just so strong. And of course, like I said, with these buff cards I have going around, you don't want me landing a 5/6 tree on your face. You don't. So definitely a strong combo not to be running in nearly every deck. So hence why they're in here as well. Moving on, I have the Arctic Explorer. Its body is pretty good and provides for another unit to be buffed by the Nun and the weapons. I just simply have it because it's, again, just a good body. I like the body. Its cost is pretty good. Its movement is nice at 3. And that's really why I run him. No further explanation on that. From there, I move on to Maddy. Maddy does provide, technically this can relate to the Mage Apprentice too. Sorry for that. But I have them in here primarily not only as good bodies, and of course Maddy with his RNG, but of course I'm going to need a mage to activate Frozen Storm. So hence why I throw in the Maddies and the Mage Apprentices. Just so if I have a Frozen Storm and I have a mage, I can play the Frozen Storm without worrying about the requirement because I already have it. So hence why Maddy and Mage are in the deck. Weapons I did kind of go over before. This is basically the biggest surprise of the deck. No one expects the weapons to pop out until it's too late, and then you're already dealing with potentially a nasty 4-attack unit just from, Lumberjack can go up to 4, Peasants can go up to 3, the Knights from Quest can go up to 4, the Trees can go up to 5. It becomes scary when you have a Dwarf and weapons played on you. I originally ran 3 in the deck, and if you are willing to try it, feel free to, but over the past couple of matches I had, I felt like narrowing it down to 2 was necessary, just because of how often sometimes I end up drawing the weapons and not having a Dwarf, so that's pretty problematic, I would say. So I would keep that to 2, personally, but if you want to try 3, go ahead. I already went over Forest Revolt, I've already went over Grudge Bear. Nunchuck Nun I have in here simply for the extra buff potential. I am buffing the units up with Dwarven Weapons. Why not have another buff from the Nunchuck Nun? Now you could run Armory for a more reliable source of buff, a permanent buff. But I like the Nun, again, for the body. The body is very important here. You can just sack a Nun into it, and you've not only weakened the unit, but you've powered up everything else. So I like that aspect of Nunchuck Nun in the deck specifically, and I find that it helps a lot. I've already went over Frozen Storm along with the Ice Weaving. The quest and the Rally of the Town, I did kind of maybe explain this in the beginning. If I didn't, I'm maybe mind blanking on that. But these are basically the primary swarm cards that you're going to be relying on to get, a Dwarven Weapons play off or a, Nunchuck buff. The summons are fantastic. For 5 gold, you summon 4 units from Rally. Just, wow, yeah, completely blanked there for a second. But yeah, these 4 units, of course, they're not equal to the cost of the card. You're going to have to pay an extra gold, but still pretty good when needing a swarm of units to defend, to attack, to set up, to whatever. 4 units is good for 5 gold. And of course, the quest, even better because of the reduced price. Normally at this cost, you're going to be summoning, you're going to be wasting 7 gold, I should say, to be summoning these 3 units. The quest gives a reduced price. It minuses 2 gold off of the combined price. So I would say that's pretty good overall. And again, the swarm setup for Nunchuck and weapons is just very strong in this deck with the quest. From there, I move on to the Killer Rabbit. I like the Killer Rabbit as a building removal. I know most people don't like the Killer Rabbit since its change months ago, but I still find it useful to get rid of those pesky School of Knowledges, range units, or Temple of the 5 Gods. Those, I think, are primarily the 3 that I use Rabbit to remove at this point. But at 2/7, when you're taking out a range unit, of course you're not being attacked by the range units. So having that body is, at 2-7, possibly a 4-7 if you're hitting 2 range units, is incredible, and that lands directly onto the castle, so your opponent has to deal with it in case maybe you have a swarm in the back set up for another turn. The rabbit can also act as a distraction for that swarm, because that 4-7 body, if it's there, it's going to be a threat, and that's going to be the primary source, the primary target, I should say, for your opponent. So, hence why I have him in here. Now I move on to Mourdock, and of course you guys know why Mourdock's in here. If you play Mourdock, if you've seen Mourdock, he is just too powerful not to run in every deck, and the fact that he's a dwarf only buffs the Dwarf Town potential. However, if you do not have Mourdock, I'm going to openly say this right now, I was running Craxus in here before Call of the Grave, so if you guys do not have a Mourdock, and you need a substitute for this card, I would say either go 3 Craxus, 2 Yarm, or if you have all 3 Yarms, 3 Yarms and 2 Craxus. Craxi. I don't know the plural. That's just my recommendation to you guys. I was kind of running that setup before, and it works just as well. But again, Mourdock primarily in here for the dwarven aspect of him, and his ability is just too strong not to run in nearly any deck right now. And the final card I have in here is going to be the Yarm Giant. The Yarm Giant is a nice big body that I have in the deck. His knockback and chain lightning is especially useful, especially since I've seen kind of fewer Yarms as the months progress, which is surprising. But regardless, I like him in the deck, and just an overall big body to reinforce the power of your swarm. So that's basically the deck list, guys. Now, I'm not going to go into a live match. I do have 2 matches that are on TV that kind of illustrate the power of Dwarf Town. So with that being said, guys, we're going to take you into the matches right now. First match I have is against 92 Ham. I think he's using some sort of greed variation. Not too sure, but based on his close, that's what I assume. We both pass our turn once. He passes his turn 2. My turn 2 is going to be used to summon out my Wood War, trying to tempt him into playing a unit, see if he's got any counters at the moment. He does throw out his Salahar Soldier, which does get me thinking he's got to have some sort of greed deck. So I respond with a Dwarf Paladin right down the center. I'm hoping to maybe get him in closer. I also block with the Wood War so Paladin doesn't just die easily. He throws out a Master Thief, looking for that invest, looking to power up the soldier. I can see that, so I Medal of Bravery out a Arctic Explorer and a Mage Apprentice. Those are going to be like my defensive cards here, and I position all of my units into somewhat an attack formation. I kind of want him to get them in there. I kind of want to put on some early pressure so that way he can't greed up. He plays a Lore Master Tarius to weaken my Paladin, as well as a Merchant's Favor, 2 of them to be precise, to throw out a Titan Watcher, which you'll see in a minute. But he takes out my Dwarf Paladin, he takes out my Wood War, and he throws out the Titan Watcher. But now here's why I like Rally of the Town. I'm going to play it right now, and it's going to be able to kill off the Master Thief with a Peasant, which means I can use my Mage Apprentice shot on the Soldier, and thereby making way for my Arctic Explorer to clear out the Tarius. If I didn't have Rally of the Town, I would have had to sacrifice a unit or weaken one, which I ended up doing anyway, but regardless. You can see the Swift Justice on the Mage Apprentice, and the Titan Watcher kills off my Arctic Explorer. He doesn't want to deal with that anymore. However, I'm going to use my Treasure Hunt that I got from the Mage Apprentice's ability. I'm going to chip away the castle for 1 thanks to Peasant, kill off the Titan Watcher, and play the Forest Revolt to not only threaten the castle, but to also defend my Mage Apprentice, as you see there, and move my Lumberjacks up to threaten as well. He plays a Swift Justice. His hand isn't looking too good, so I can see he's like limited options. He does play the Plunder as well to weaken the Lumberjacks, but then, of course, you still have 3 units hitting face right now. I put the Wood War behind the castle, strike for 3, Lumberjack moves up, strikes for 2, Peasant strikes for 1. In hindsight, I should have moved my Lumberjack, but the second one up there, but I didn't. I summoned Mourdock as well to just increase the pressure, increase the, damage. He throws out a Dreadmouth with the reduced cost from Tarius, but here's why I like weapons now. Weapons going to come out, and that's going to basically finish the game. 3 from Peasant, 4 for Lumberjack, and 6 from Mourdock is going to be more than enough, or just barely enough, I should say, to end the game. And that provides us a victory. So that's why I like the Rally weapons combination. It's definitely a strong combination, and one that I think a lot of people again sleep on. And you can see by that rally play in the beginning that we were able to take out the Master Thief with, you know, little sacrifice. We did have to sacrifice the peasant, but overall we didn't weaken a much more important unit. We sacrificed a peasant and then used that Major Apprentice shot to clear out the Salahar soldier, so we didn't have to trade another unit into that. So that, I would say that's pretty good as well. So with that being said, guys, we're just gonna hop right into battle number 2. I do have one more match to show you against another greed deck, so you can further see the power of Dwarf Town against greed. Number 2 here versus Travesty. Now this is when I fell a little under 2900. As you can see there, I'm 28 in this battle, but that's okay. He starts off by passing his first 2 turns. On my turn 2, I'm going to summon up my Major Apprentice, looking for that early spell. Looking to maybe capitalize on his, you know, not playing anything, his inactivity of board presence, I should say. But he throws out a Con Artist turn 3. I want to pull a Sacrifice from Major Apprentice. I don't find that useful now, but instead I'm going to move my Major Apprentice upwards to avoid any Con Artist shots and move my Dwarf Paladin right out in front. He's going to knock me for some damage there. He plays the Merchant's Favor and summons out the Monster Tamer turn 4. That's pretty impressive. However, I have a counter to this. I just simply play my 2 Ice Weavings, and that's going to be the death of the Monster Tamer. He's only going to get 2 monsters out of that, and it does end up being Ramrus and Manfish. Not very good pulls, so I'm able to capitalize on that. Dwarf Paladin weakening the Con Artist, healing up my other Dwarf Paladin. The second Dwarf Paladin strikes a Manfish and gets the heal before Manfish's ability sets off, so he can survive, and I damage the Ramrus with that Major Apprentice. So then he plays a Smuggling Ring, of course. He gets that Awakened Rage. He plays another Smuggling Ring because he doesn't know what to do with them. He doesn't have his School of Knowledge. He plays a Maddy, however, and that's going to get him a Wind Mage, so that's going to push all my units back. Kind of unfortunate, but that gives him some breathing room. I respond with a Forest Revolt. I'm looking to maybe threaten his Wind Mage position here. If he moves up and attacks my Dwarf Paladins, I'm going to strike with my Wood War. However, he does pull that School of Knowledge that you see. He weakens my Dwarf Paladin, retreats the Wind Mage with the Firebomb, killing off my first Paladin, and of course playing the Wind Mage again to just push everything back. Interesting that he didn't play the School, but I think he knows that he can't play the School right now, which is good for me. I power up with another Forest Revolt, giving that first Wood War, I believe, yeah, 5 movement, if you can look right there. Yeah, 5 movement to take out that first Ramrus. I'm switching their cards here. He plays his Master Thief and his School of Knowledge, so he's bound to draw another card unless I take out the School of Knowledge this turn. He also takes out my Dwarf Paladin with Wind Mage. That's kind of a fair trade. I did go a little, I did kind of tempt him in there, so that's understandable. I do take out his Wind Mage, though, with Wood War. Play my Grudge Bearer and Arctic Explorer. That Arctic Explorer, as you can see, is going to threaten the School of Knowledge. So he knows that his School of Knowledge is in trouble. He responds with an Ogre Thief. That's going to draw him some additional cards. He won't kill my Grudge Bearer. He will kill my Wood War with that. He'll also play his Master Thief here to block off the Arctic Explorer and block off the Grudge Bearer with his weakened Master Thief. I take this opportunity to draw some cards with the Dwarven Archives. I take out the first Master Thief with my Mage, take out the second with my Grudge Bearer, and the Arctic Explorer finishes off the School, and play a Rally while I'm at it, kill off that Maddy so it doesn't do anything doesn't do anything with that, and just move up all of my Rally units. So that was a pretty good turn. I killed off his source of draw very easily. He plays a Dread Pirate. That's going to kill off the Grudge Bearer, not giving any sort of Rampage Last Will. I have no Dwarfs. He'll also play a Con Artist and the additional Merchant's Favors. He plays a Wicked Rage, my mistake. And then goes, of course, kills off my Peasant with this new, power, and then kills off the Mage Apprentice. However, he also kills off my Arctic Explorer and summons the Rusty Hooks. That's what I was waiting for. However, he did make a mistake. I did have the Yarm Giant. Now, another reason why I like the Yarm Giant, as you can see here, I'm going to kill off his Con Artist, his Ogre Thief, and weaken everything else, including Castle, for no effort. Everyone sleeps on that Yarm Giant. They set up the chains at that point very easily because they don't think I run Fire Drake, so they open up that chain. He does out another Dread Pirate, and both one Lumberjack and the remaining Peasant go down because of it. And to follow up, I will throw out my Rabbit. The Rabbit's going to kill off the first Dread Pirate and the Rusty Hooks. So now he's down to just having the Dread Pirate out on the field. He will respond to this by playing his Master Thief. His Master Thief will kill off my Lumberjack. The Dread Pirate will finish off the Killer Rabbit. Any Merchant's Favors out an Arbiter's Return to, of course, kill off my Grudge Bear. As you can see, the combination of the attack and effect will make Grudge virtually dead. So from there, I play my Dwarf Miner, seeing as how I need some sort of option. I play the Dwarven Weapons to just reinforce my guy's strength a little bit more, kill off the Dread Pirate, I don't want its range bothering me, and move up everything else. At this point, it was sort of just a battle of who had the better draws at this point. He plays a Dragon's Horde, that's going to get him a Camouflage, a Dead card, an Ice Drake. Ice Drake and the Master Thief together will be able to take out the Yarm, but that leaves the Dwarf Miner and the Woodwar still in healthy condition. They're going to move in, as you can see here, and I thought a Mage Apprentice as well to just reinforce my board presence a bit. He does have the Kraken and the Flux Flux. He will play the Kraken, however, to take out my Dwarf Miner. That was a good play, just so in case I had a Dwarven Weapon pull. I didn't have a Dwarven Weapon pull, unfortunately, but I did draw a Call to War. I play that Call to War first. I get a Sunflower and throw out the Nun to kill off the Kraken, meanwhile giving everything else a buff. As you can see here, Mage Apprentice chips away another 2 damage off the castle. Woodwar moves in for the lethal, and Vicious Sunflower to back up the push. He plays his Flux at this point. That's going to kill, he's just going to kill him off against the Woodwar. He plays his Con Artist as well. That's going to die to the Woodwar, and he disintegrates to save himself from the mess. However, at this point, the game's virtually over. The Mage Apprentice is going to shoot for 2, as you can see here. Sudden Death kicks in. I shoot for 2 and sacrifice the Sunflower that I've been holding that sacrifice. I finally sacked the Sunflower to find the remaining 2 damage on the castle. So overall, that was pretty good. Those 2 games really showed the Dwarf Town's superiority, and just how powerful they are against the Greed archetype at this time. So that was the 3K Dwarf Town deck video. I hope you guys did enjoy that video. I am feeling a little better from yesterday, which is why I decided to make this video. Of course, the next 3K deck video will be up tomorrow, and that will actually be one that wasn't affected by the deck wipe, surprisingly. That'll be the Awake the Shot deck. I'm very excited to show you guys that one. But I hope you guys did enjoy this one, and just, yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for words right now. Because again, head's down at 100%. But anyway, if you guys did enjoy, please make sure to give the video a like, share with your friends, and of course comment down below your thoughts on the Dwarf Town deck. I really want to know what you guys think about this. I've been working on it for a couple months, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. And with that being said, guys, if you are new to the channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. All you gotta do to show your support of the channel is just click that subscribe button. That's all you gotta do. And yeah, with that being said, guys, until the next video, stay gaming.